OC. My name is Christina, and welcome back to this channel. This is the place where we gush about the films that we love and try understanding the ones that we don't. Now, Theodore Robert Bundy. If I say that name, most people might know who I'm talking about. Born on November 24th, 1946, Ted Bundy is one of the world's most prolific serial killers. It is known for certain that he kidnapped, assaulted, and took the lives of at least 30 women in the United States, though, of course, the amount of people he victimized might actually be higher. Bundy's MO was one of charisma and manipulation, his appearance usually that of someone that needed attention following an injury or required compliance under a falsified sense of authority. Less commonly known is the fact that while Bundy was incarcerated, he did a number of interviews with FBI Special Agent Bill Hagmaier, which brings us to our agenda. Today's attention is being paid to No Man of God. This is a 2021 true crime film that was directed by Amber Sealey and written by Robert Sturgill. It is inspired by a number of interviews done between Bundy and Hagmaier between the years of 1984 to 1989, and, of course, the complicated relationship that blossomed between them in the years that Bundy spent on death row. I usually say that context is key, and here that sentiment is no less true. So, on we go.
You know the drill.
Well, say something. You came to talk to me.
Mr. Bundy, I'm Special Agent Hagmaier.
I know who you are.
Well, I'm grateful for you to take the time to see me today. We're compiling a series of interviews to try to find common threads in the way that people think. And we're finding it very helpful to get an idea of what people in your situation, well, what their childhoods were like, what brings out their aggression, what makes them angry.
My situation.
Your situation is quite unique in that you also have, from what I understand, an interest in the psychology of serial murderers.
I do.
You've been writing to an investigator up in Seattle?
Yes, you mean the Green River thing. Yeah, that's a really interesting case. I don't have access to everything, but I've started to piece some things together.
And that thought process is why I wanted to speak with you.
No, it isn't.
This is purely academic.
I know what this is. Oh, you FBI guys, you're all the same. You think you're better than me. You're all just Hoover disciples riding through on your high horses, thinking you've got the biggest brains in the room. Now, if you're so smart, why aren't you bagging serial killers left and right? Why doesn't witness protection actually work? If you testify, we'll grant you immunity and you can go into witness protection. You can live out your life in a quaint small town, but it never works. They always get killed. You can't protect them.
Well, witness protection is the federal marshals.
You are liars in cheap suits on government salaries, and everything is an elaborate trap with you. Also, you can retire on a pension and write your damn book.
Look, I'm just here.
No. You sell that to the tourists. You can never trust an FBI man, not for a goddamn minute.
Mr. Bundy, is this meeting over?
No, sir. We were just getting started.
Mr. Hagmaier, is this meeting over?
No, we're just having a friendly conversation on the state of the Bureau.
If you get up and put your fingers in his face again, you won't be using them for a year.
Yes, sir.
Concerned with Bundy's disposition and musings, Sealey's feature highlights his relationship with FBI profiler Bill Hagmaier, both in the earliest years of this particular science being developed in the context of law enforcement,
and while the general public waited eagerly for him to die via execution. Likely owing to Hagmaier's own contributions in terms of insight, which naturally informs Elijah Wood's performance, there is an obvious fixation on the rapport established on his behalf with Ted, perhaps to a fault. It is heavily implied that Bundy only divulged information of relevance to this agent, and this is of course disproved by the horde of interviews that can be found online featuring him, though no man of God's discourse better dramatizes Bundy's intuitive desire to manipulate individuals as a means to an end, and divvy out his self-proclaimed intellect in curated amounts to his own advantage. Perhaps unintentionally, no man of God introduced the topic of the Green River Killer as one that Hagmaier brought to Bundy's attention for the purposes of getting his opinion, when the latter had reached out to detectives on his own accord to offer them unprompted. That said, it is likely that Hagmaier and Bundy discussed this case at one point, since he was at large for 14 years in spite of the help Bundy provided, as many of his insights about Gary Ridgway ended up being accurate. But without any background information, the interactions surrounding the subject seem to be brought up arbitrarily.
I'm going to take you somewhere that I've never taken anyone before. And I will do the talking.
It's challenging enough to manage no man of God subject matter in a respectful manner, much less an entertaining one. Most of the action here consists of verbal exchanges, and while sometimes heated, they're often unremarkable or matter-of-fact. This requires much in the way of set design to authenticate what transpires with anticipatory elements. Luckily, cinematographer Karina Silva is pretty fluent when it comes to what can be revealed through mere positions and angles alone. As Hagmaier digs more deeply, there's less need for obscurity, which secondarily lends to a certain personableness in his subject that makes every single syllable muttered all the more discomforting, which, uttered by Kirby, scratches an itch that could seem flouncy or sensationalist. Bundy's need to be in control informs Kirby's performance to a T, and it culminates in this influx of showmanship that might otherwise be indictable as a shameless impression. What gets produced here, though, is far more than some modified tics and inflections, and not only that, they pale in comparison to the superficiality of Bundy's personality that is hallmarked in most, if not all, of his publicized interactions. One need not look very far to see why no man of God's primary subject of interest seems to always be auditioning for something or putting on an act, given Bundy's pattern of elusiveness while he was incarcerated and on the run.
Her dark hair parted down the middle. Gorgeous. I want her so bad. But no, not yet. Stick to the plan. Just a few more miles. You can do whatever you want. The air is cool. It's crisp. Now we're there. I drag her out of the car. I drag her through the woods to the place that I have all picked out. That spot. She's lying there in the moonlight. Her curves, her skin, her blouse. I can see her curves. You have to have it all planned out. That's how you do it. That's how you don't get caught. That's how you don't. I need my kit. It's in the car. Back of the wheel well. Get rid of it. After I'm done, never use the same kit twice. That's how you
don't let them catch you with it.
You gotta get rid of it.
You gotta know where to drop it.
And I undress her. I wrap the garrote around her neck. And I bend her over. And I wake her with the smelling salts. And she wakes and she screams. Shh. Please, don't do this.
Don't cry. Do what I say. Don't cry. Please be quiet.
Don't do this. I live out all the fantasies I fuck her until I ever dreamed of. It's just that moment. I wrap the garrote. I wring her neck. I choke her. She's bucking like that. She's giving this. I feel her going limp. And wrap her
Around
in
my arms and
arms. Turn her around. Kiss her. Swallow her last breath whole.
She knows. She knows. It's her last moments on earth.
You are guilty of killing many women and girls, is that correct?
Yes. Yes, that's true.
Ted, how did it happen? Take me back. So much grief, so much sorrow, so much pain.
Directed from a woman's point of view, naturally, No Man of God is preoccupied with much more than dissecting the nature of Ted's work or peeling the scandalized Bundy onion just for the heck of it. Though using supposition in some part to do so, Sealey gives Ted's victims a presence they've otherwise never had on screen, going the extra mile and holding their murderer responsible for his crimes. Herein lies the real cherry on top that would have her subject rolling in his grave, mostly evidenced by the fact that his execution was largely prolonged due to his strategic divulging of information related to his crimes, in combination with his refusal to plead guilty in any capacity to them. Given the fact he had escaped from prison on at least 2 occasions, it is likely that he always thought that he had more time, and here he gets robbed of any comfort predicated in such thoughts. All that said, No Man of God still showcases a humanized version of Bundy, short of any undue sympathy or interest unaligned with the families or communities impacted by his actions. By the time it was determined that Bundy was definitely going to be executed, these families no longer cared for the details regarding their loved ones that were being withheld from them for the purposes of stalling. In conjunction with the nonchalant way in which this fictionalized Hagmaier emphasizes personal choices and a foolish excess in pride as being the cause of Bundy's actions, which ironically reveals that this subject isn't impervious to the same manipulation he used for evil. This is a blow to an insatiable ego that feels undeniably deserved. Ultimately, No Man of God has many things on its mind and conscience relative to how much Bundy can be reconciled as normal in spite of the pathological behavior he displayed throughout the entirety of his life. It is a curious choice, however, to neglect driving home the extent to which his ego contributed to his death warrant being signed expeditiously in light of Bundy's tendency to breadcrumb the individuals in law enforcement that were given the task of trying to crack him while he was incarcerated. In fact, Bundy's desire to exert his will was so strong, he used his final words to request that his love be extended to all of his family members and friends. All that in mind, what No Man of God doesn't explore or reveal with sort of unchecked confidence can only be held so high up above its head. It's singing that same old tune of morbid curiosity that fans of true crime simply relish in, and it's indebted to parcels of self-discovery that most people will consider disconcerting all the same. If you are still watching, thank you so much for your time. As usual, questions, comments, and concerns are encouraged and welcome below, in addition to suggestions as to what movies I should be watching and analyzing next. My name is Christina. Happy film hunting. Bye.